You're listening to the Quint's podcast.
This is a story about Puliodharai, tamarind rice, and alchemy, and a culinary war that continues till today. Hello, I'm Vikram, and you're listening to Southern Slurp, the Quint's podcast on food, recipes, and fantastic stories from the kitchens of South India, both ancient and modern, circa 1988. Summer holidays. I'm 5 years old and small enough to fit into the window of the Mumbai Express, en route to my grandma's house in Dadar from Chennai Central. The journey is no less than 2 full days. I'm hungry. There's no station in sight. And the train has stopped randomly in the middle of nowhere indefinitely, like it usually does. I ask my mother, for the 73rd time in about 10 minutes, for food. I manage to get under her skin. A red cheek, a ringing ear, and 5 minutes later, my mother opens a large round metal dabba. The scent of rice mixed with dried red chillies, cooked tamarind and fried groundnuts fills the coupe. The Puliodharai is almost 2 days old, and yet it's great to eat. My mother sniffs it a little just to be sure. The aroma of the rice that has soaked in the thick paste of spiced tamarind makes her sigh with pride. She looks at me and smiles. My twin brother and I sit across her and we begin to finish the roughly 1 kg of Puliodharai. Before I dig deep into my love for Puliodharai, though my nostalgic story is a giveaway, let me tell you that you can check out the full playlist of Southern Slurp on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and JioSaavn. If you've liked listening in so far, chances are you'll love the whole playlist. And now, back to the tangy Puliodharai. What's in a name? Kannadigas call it Puliogare. The Telugus call it PuLihOrA. In Tamil land, it's called Puliodharai. And the Maharashtrians have historically called it Ambil Bhath. This version of mixed rice has been around since at least before the 3rd century BC, and we're pretty sure it's from the kitchens of South India. Here's Mrs. Padma's version of the Puliodharai. Now, she's about 60 years old and she's been cooking from before you or I existed, probably. And she's a natural who learnt the art by herself. I can vouch for her cooking because she's my neighbor, so pay attention.
If
you're making it for 2 people, you'll need to take a lemon-sized ball of tamarind, 1 spoon of coriander seeds, chana dal half a spoon, half spoon urad dal, 1 spoon of pepper and a pinch of jeera. Dry roast all of this, powder it and set aside. Temper mustard, curry leaves, 3 or 4 dried red chillies, groundnuts in a good sesame oil. And then add the tamarind water. Once the whole thing thickens, add the powder you had made earlier. If the tamarind is very dark, it could be very sour. But if it is brown in color, it may be not so tangy. It will be ordinary. Sometimes brown can be extremely tangy. You will need to taste check first for the quality, because if it is too sour, you can add a little bit of jaggery. After adding the powder, you can bring down the pulikachal from the stove. Some people fry copra, dried coconut shavings, and add it. Copra does not keep for too long. If you add a lot of gingerly oil, then it helps preserve the concentrate for long. If there isn't much oil, then it won't last. For our weather, which is humid, it won't last for more than 4 or 5 days. To this, you can mix 1 arak of rice.
1 cup.
Tamarind. Steamed white rice, tamarind paste, fenugreek, dried chillies, salt, sesame oil, and the genius idea that brought it all together. The ingredients of this recipe have always been readily available and always been cheap. There are no onions, and that's why the tamarind rice is the most common prasad across temples in South India. It's easy to make, it doesn't spoil for at least 2 days, even in the humid weather of Chennai, and most of all, It is unbelievably tasty. And at the root of it all is the tamarind, that strange fruit from a strange tree with sour leaves that is both the sweetest and the most acidic of all fruits. The Persians call it Tamarind, the Indian date, and it was used widely during the Mughal era. So, is tamarind South Indian? Well, actually it's African. Archaeologists say it came to India 10,000 years ago. 10,000 years. That makes it practically Indian. I mean, come on. We cultivated it, mass-produced it, and have used it in ways that beat description. And not just as a souring agent or spice in food. It's been an important aspect of Ayurveda since at least 320 AD. And if you're looking to convert iron or any other metal into gold, you can't do it without tamarind. Yup, tamarind was used in alchemy. So says the 12th century Rasarnaba, or treatise on metallic preparations. But how and when was it combined with rice? Odana is cooked rice, according to the Rig Veda, which is about 3,500 years old. But we have been shoveling rice onto leaf plates from long before then. By about the 11th century, Odana came to mean different types of mixed rice. So Dadyodana was curd rice, Pishitodana was meat and rice, Ghritodana was butter rice or ghee rice, Taitirikodana was tamarind rice. 3rd century BC. The cusp of the birth of tamarind rice were in the flatlands of the Tamils, where endless rice fields rustle and flow like an ocean of green waves. A nameless poet, whose poems still live on in the Agananuru, an ancient anthology, writes, "Her husband's cloth is well washed, but after he puts it on, he dirties it by wiping on it the thin fingers which are like November flowers, with which he has stirred the thick curds and which he has not washed. He is eating the thick tamarind soup, which she has cooked for him and on which she has thrown aromatics after frying them. And when she looked at it with her lily-like eyes daubed with eye paint, her bright face beamed with delight." Here's another one. "உப்புனொடை நெல்லின் மூரல் வெண்சோறு அயலைத் துழந்த அம்புலிச் சொரிந்து கொழுமீன் தடியோடு ஒருமகள் கொடுக்கும்," which means she brings white rice which she got from bartering salt mixed with a broth of irai fish cooked in sweet tamarind sauce to her father. Beautiful, no? I chose these verses for two reasons. One, they describe the combination or the mixing of rice with tamarind extract, which is what the PuLihOrA is all about. And two, the names of the tamarind in different languages all seem to have been adapted from Tamil words. Marathi's Ambil from Ambuli in Tamil. Sanskrit's Tintida from Tittip, which means sweet in Tamil. It was earlier called Chinchaphala in Sanskrit, but linguists say that word too might have had a South Indian influence. But in both these recipes, the dish has either meat or fish in it. But the tamarind rice of today is pure veg, green sticker through and through. How did that happen, you ask? Well, the answer lies on the other side of the second recipe for the PuLihOrA. One that's even more basic and which involves nothing more than a good eye and lots of patience. Here's Asha Lata, another neighbor of mine who's the keeper of the recipe of the pulikaichal, the concentrate, in the family.
Amma's speciality is always PuLihOdharai. That was something which I caught on to. Generally, it was like, okay, I'm going out somewhere and my husband needs something to eat, so make some pulikaichal and keep. And now both my children are also caught on to PuLihOdharai. So they are both outside. So every 3 months I need to make pulikaichal and send to them by courier. Typically what my mother used to make was never with all this podi, dhania and all that podi. So we just have a simple this one, but mendi podi and ellu podi used to be there. It's not such a big process as people think it is. For me at least, it's not like that. So my recipe is very simple. So for 2 people, like it's lemon size puli, that is tamarind. Soak it in hot water and keep it. Take a lot of nallanai, because that only will, nallanai is still oil. That only will preserve it for a longer period of time. put kadugu, mustard, urad dal, chana dal, that is kadalaparpu, udulthamparpu, and then peanuts. Yeah, I put a lot of peanuts. We roast it with the kadugu and udulthamparpu and all that. And then we put a lot of perungayam, asafoetida. Put a lot of red chillies. Red chillies for this will be very less because I usually make it in a large quantity. So my for this would be around 10 because you will be anyway roasting some red chillies and putting it for the spice also. So nowadays all the red chillies don't have spice as much as they used to have before. So you need that spice. And because it is puli, so that spice should be there. And then let it... after it turns red, just put the puli water and let it boil. And put salt and turmeric. Also, you have to put karupile when you are roasting all this. And then after that, we take some mendiyam, that is methi, and some red chilies and fry it till it turns red. Then mix it into a powder. And when it is reducing, we put the mendiyam pudi. And let it boil till it becomes a thick sauce. And say for 2 people, take 1 cup of rice and mix it with that. And I make it with sometimes basmati rice, which makes it even more this one. So the basmati taste and the pulikachil taste gives that. But many times, even when you are making, yes, it has to be 1:2 or 2.5. This is with normal rice, that is ponni rice or any of those rice. With basmati rice, we keep 1.5. If I store it in the fridge, it stays for quite some time, like 15-20 days it stays. Obviously, less quantity it will get over in the first this one, but when I make more quantity, for 2-3 days it can stay out because our weather is humid. So Chennai weather is humid, so we don't keep it outside. Normally we keep it in the fridge. Also, when you're mixing the rice, make sure the rice is, when it is hot, you put some til oil over the rice. And then mix this, then you get that aroma of the til oil and the flavor of the pulikachil.
P.T. Srinivasa Iyengar, in his book History of Tamils, believes that there was a huge wave of vegetarianism among South Indian Brahmins around the 5th and 6th centuries AD, and that this coincided with the Bhakti movement among the Vaishnavites and the Shaivites, and also with the growing influence of the Jain sect. A number of vegetarian recipes were therefore born in this period. It wasn't just about replacing or eliminating meat from a recipe, but creating courses from scratch that used tamarind imaginatively. The Puliogare of the Kannadigas has dried desiccated coconuts. The PuLihOrA of the Vishnu temple in Triplicane, which is world famous, the temple too is world famous, is made with pepper and not dried chillies. The PuLihOrA of Andhra is a more basic recipe akin to ashalatas and devoid of the powdered spices. As food aficionados fight over which version is the best, I did the right thing. I tasted all of the versions and in full measure, and I can tell you without a shred of doubt, they are all beautiful. Try making it at home. Trust me, it won't suck as much as you think it will. For more such free advice, recipes and stories, check out our full playlist on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, JioSaavn, and of course, the podcast section on the Quint. And as always, thank you for listening.